everyone, welcome back to my show, Dimitra's Dishes. So summertime is officially almost here, and I'm going to teach you how to make homemade double chocolate ice cream. It's really easy to make. It's way better than any store-bought ice cream that you'll ever try, and the ingredients are really basic and not too many. So let me take you through them. We need some sugar and a tiny bit of salt. We need chocolate. So half a pound of semi-sweet chocolate melted, and then you need a cup of chopped up chocolate or chocolate chips, and use the highest quality chocolate you could find. My favorite is Belgian chocolate. If you have a hard time finding it, just find the best chocolate that you could find in your supermarket. Then I have egg yolks, a little bit of coffee, because coffee really intensifies that chocolate flavor. It won't make it taste at all like coffee, but it'll bring out the chocolate flavor. You need whole milk, a little bit of heavy whipping cream, and vanilla extract. And of course you're going to need an ice cream maker, so make sure you have one for this recipe. So I already have some water that's simmering over here, so that way I can melt my chocolate. And I'm going to put it on top of this bowl while I pour my whole milk in here and my heavy cream. So I know that this is 2 cups in here because this is a 4-cup measure, and I made some yesterday, so I'm not measuring, but go on my website, www.dimitrasdishes.com, and you'll find all the measurements for all of the recipes that I make on this show. I'm going to add my sugar. I'm going to add my sugar and my salt and a little bit of coffee, and I'm going to heat this on like a medium-high heat and keep whisking it until it slowly begins to come to a boil. In the meantime, my chocolate on top of my double boiler. This is a double boiler. So a double boiler is basically just a pot of simmering water. You don't want it to be boiling. And then on top of it is your chocolate, and you want to make sure that the bottom of your bowl is never touching the water, okay? Because chocolate burns really easily and melts fast. But once it burns, you know, that's it. It's going to taste horrible, it's going to seize, and there's nothing you can do to kind of bring it back. So just make sure that the water is simmering and that the bowl is never touching the water. Those are really the only 2 steps that you need to know. And keep mixing this. The chocolate will melt just in time as the milk and the cream and the sugar and the coffee all like heat up and come to a boil. Okay, so the chocolate is almost melted. It happens really fairly quickly. See how that is? Look at that. That is just so creamy, so yummy. Just make sure, if you can find Belgian chocolate, that is just my favorite chocolate in the whole world. It's super creamy, very, very chocolatey in flavor. And in my opinion, it's the best. And so that's the only one that we use in our bakery. So I really love it. I've used it for the past 5 years, and it just really is the best. So when your chocolate looks like this, you know, turn your heat off and remove it right away from the steam, from the hot pot, because otherwise it'll continue to melt and it'll burn. The added heat will make it burn. So I'm going to move it to the side. Okay, so my milk and cream is it's actually coming to a boil, so I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm just going to mix my eggs and slowly temper them. So I said before, tempering just means we're going to bring the temperature of the eggs up so that way they don't scramble and, you know, become hard when we put them in, because, you know, a creamy custard for your ice cream needs to be super creamy. You don't want chunks of egg in there. So we're going to add 2 or 3 ladlefuls of this hot milk and cream mixture, so that way when we add this in, it'll be around the same temperature, and it'll thicken it and make it really rich and creamy, and it's going to be the best ice cream on the planet, I promise. Okay, so my eggs, definitely you can feel the bottom of the bowl and you'll know that your egg mixture has tempered. I'm going to add this in here, and I'm just going to cook it over a low heat for like 2 to 3 minutes until this mixture thickens a little bit. You don't want it to boil, definitely. You just want it to heat slowly and thicken. Excuse me, I don't know what's happening to my voice. And then we're just going to add remove it from the heat, add our chocolate in here and our vanilla extract, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. But okay, so that's it. It's just cooked for about 2 minutes and it's thickened. You'll be able to feel it when you're stirring that it has thickened. I'm just going to turn the heat off, and while this cools in the fridge, it's going to thicken even more. Remember, make sure to turn your heat off, okay? At this point, we're going to add the chocolate. That's all melted. Whoa. We're going to add the chocolate in here, and we did. I'm going to add the vanilla extract. And I never measure vanilla extract. It's one of those ingredients that I love, so if it's a little bit more, that's fine with me. Definitely don't want to overdo it. So I'm just going to mix this. Look at that. Oh, yeah, I could just give me a straw and I could drink this up right now. Look at that. That's like the best hot chocolate on the planet right now. But it's not ready yet. We're going to pour it through a sieve, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so at this point we've melted our chocolate, we put in there, all of the ingredients are ready, but you want to try and not skip this step. I have a strainer and then a bowl to catch my ice cream mixture. This is like a really nice, almost like a creme anglaise and chocolate flavored. So I put it through here because if there are any hard bits of like egg that didn't temper properly, it's going to catch them, and it's going to make sure that you have and there are, look at this, you'll see that there are some bits that you just don't want these in your ice cream, you guys. Try not to skip this step. You see that? You see those little bits of, I don't know what they are, they're probably egg and maybe some cooked milk and stuff in there. You want to catch those, and you don't want them to go in your ice cream because it's going to make a difference in the texture of it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of plastic wrap over this so that way it doesn't form a skin, and you want it to kind of touch the cream mixture. You're going to let this cool down a bit, maybe come to room temperature, and then pop it in your refrigerator and let it cool for at least 4 hours up until overnight, so it could be nice and cold. After that, I already made one yesterday and I cooled it and everything, and what I did before it's time to make my ice cream, I'm going to pop it in my freezer for about 15 minutes so it can get even colder. So after you refrigerate it for 4 hours or overnight and it's nice and cold, for about 15 minutes let it freeze in your freezer just for a little bit so it can get nice and cold, and it'll like make your ice cream thicker and creamier. So when you're going to take this out tomorrow or in 4 hours, you're going to see that it's like a really thick chocolate pudding. That'll be good enough to eat, but ice cream, nothing beats good ice cream. Okay, so I froze this in this bowl yesterday. I didn't freeze it. I cooled it in my refrigerator, and I made this yesterday overnight. And then, so I left it in my fridge overnight, and just 15 minutes ago I put it in my freezer. And look at how thick and creamy it has gotten. I mean, guys, remember, we're making ice cream, right? So don't eat this, otherwise you're going to defeat the purpose. It's so delicious just like this. I mean, this is probably like the best chocolate pudding you could ever get your hands on. But we're making ice cream, so we're going to pour it in our ice cream maker. Let me take this out, and I made sure that my ice cream, bucket was nice and, frozen properly overnight. I'm going to pour this in here. And I'm going to turn my machine on and let it churn for about 25 minutes. And then the last 5 minutes of churning, when it's going to thicken up and be like, soft serve ice cream, I'm going to add my chocolate, my chopped up chocolate. And you can add anything in this. You could add chopped up brownies. You can chop up, nice Ferrero Rocher chocolate and put that in there. That's just one of my favorite ways to eat this ice cream. You could put mini chocolate chips. I mean, the sky's the limit. You can make any flavor you want. This is the base chocolate recipe, and just do whatever you want with it. It's so good. I mean, people won't believe that you made it. I'm going to turn it on and let it churn for 25 minutes, and then I'm going to add my chopped up chocolate in here, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so as you can see, the ice cream is really starting to thicken, and there are 5 minutes left of churning. So I'm going to add my shaved, chopped up chocolate bits in here, and this is semi-sweet chocolate. So it's going to mix 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so it's been churning for about 25 to 30 minutes. And ice cream makers, usually when you're making ice cream at home, it makes the consistency sort of like a really soft serve ice cream. So usually, if you read your instructions, it requires, if you want like a more harder ice cream, that's how I like mine. I like mine more like hard and more set. So I just freeze it a little longer, maybe for another hour or 2 after I make it. I know it requires a lot of patience, especially when you look at it and you smell it. It smells amazing. But I'm just going to pour out a little bit so I could see you, scoop out a little bit so I could show you, not so I could see you. You see how soft it is? So I would, at this point, just take this ice cream bowl and just pop it in the freezer, or you can transfer it into another container so that way you can wash this and then freeze it and make more ice cream later on. You can just take all this out, transfer it into another bowl, cover it up or close up the container and freeze it for about an hour or 2 so you can have really nice hard ice cream. This is what it looks like. You guys really have got to make this. It's so good. I'm just going to go in because I can't resist. I can explain how good it is. Seriously, go on the website www.dimitrasdishes.com, get all the measurements for this, make it. I promise people are going to go nuts when they taste this. It's so good. It's so chocolatey. It's so crunchy from the chocolate and creamy and rich. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.